wake up, it's time to be free. Wake up, was blind, now I see. Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
So welcome to another episode of Daily Jules. This is where I help give you nuggets of wisdom to help you increase your degrees of freedom. Today we have an amazing question around how to stay disciplined and follow through. How to stay disciplined and follow through. This is really key because a lot of us are good at starting and stopping and starting and stopping. It's time for us to stop starting and stopping, right? We want to follow through and we need some discipline. And you know, there's a big misconception that freedom just means free for all and that it means no structure. And what I found more than anything is that in being free, what frees me is structure. This may sound counterintuitive, but what frees me is structure. Because if I know that the right processes are in place, then I am actually free to go focus on the things that are really important to me. Being free doesn't just mean a free-for-all and waking up and just winging it. Structure is really important to actually staying free, or else you start to lose your freedom. Okay, and you can think about it like this: or if you were in college and you thought that going to college you would be free, you wouldn't be in class all day and things of that nature, and you'd only be in class for maybe 12 hours a week rather than 30 hours like in high school. And what happens in all that quote unquote free time? What happens? It just kind of floats away. You're like, what did you do today? I don't know. I was kind of just out on campus, but I don't know what I did. We need structure in those gaps, and we need structure to actually sustain our freedom, or else that time just gets wasted. And so got a great question from Angela. She says, what are some strategies you use to stay disciplined and to follow through? I taught this in the Year of Freedom. It's my goal setting framework, and it's also in the Guaranteed Goals book. And one, it's the way I set my goals, and then two, it's the way that I plan my week. So I'm going to guide you through both really quickly. So the first thing is we have to stop relying on will and self-discipline when it comes to achieving the things that we truly want. When we were in college, the only reason we showed up and actually turned in that 10-page paper is because we knew that somebody else there, a professor that we were paying a lot of money, was there to hold us accountable to getting that paper done. But in our personal goals, our lives, and our businesses, when you're a solopreneur, we try to rely on ourselves to hold ourselves accountable, and that's very difficult. So what I found is that through starting my business was that I couldn't rely solely on myself and that I needed other people. So when I first wrote the 8 Cylinder of Success, before I published it, I wanted to make sure that it was actually valuable to other people. And so on November 10th, 2008, I sent out an email. To 100 people in Brooklyn, in BK, inviting register, inviting how to stay disciplined, inviting 10 of them to come to my living room, actually 8 of them to come to my living room for a full day experience called Driving School for Life, right? Where I was going to help them get clarity on their life purpose. And so so the event was November 10th when I sent out the email, and the event was, how do I draw an event ticket? The event was November 22nd. So I sent out the email, and immediately people started RSVPing, me, and by the end of the day, 8 people had RSVP'd. Okay, so the event was full, right? So here's a catch: when I sent out this email on November 10th, I had absolutely nothing planned for November 22nd. Nothing planned. So what did I have to do over the next 12 days? I had 12 days. The only thing I can do was deliver. I couldn't get feedback. I couldn't think about it. I couldn't even pray about it. I had to actually create something, because now 8 people were coming to my living room expecting to get clarity on their life purpose in 12 days, right? So here's what I found out about this, is that dates do not hold us accountable. What holds us accountable are events that involve other people. What holds us accountable are events that involve other people. So rather than think about that negatively, because we have this weird psychology as human beings. We're more comfortable disappointing ourselves than we are other people. Rather than looking at that negatively, I said, how do I continue to get other people involved in my goals? See, these people showed up and they had such an amazing experience that I went on to teach that program in 5 other different cities to hundreds of professionals. And this email that you see right here, Angela, this is the reason I'm in front of you today. This email set off everything. And it only took me 10 minutes to draft. I still have the email. It took me 10 minutes to draft it. It set off everything. It is the reason I am doing this work in front of you today, right? Because I didn't rely on myself. Because if I would have relied on myself, I would have said, oh, let me write a first draft and let me go get feedback from a friend, and then, oh, let me make some tweaks over here, and then let me do this, and let me go get a workbook designed and created, and that would have got pushed back until January, till March, until today, and I still wouldn't have ever done this program had I not sent out the invitation in advance. So the way I structure my goals is not chronological order. That's how most people set their goals. Let me design this perfect event, and once it's perfect, then let me send out get a venue, and then once I get the venue, let me send out invitations, and then go execute. That would be chronological order. I set my goals in illogical order. It was actually illogical to send out the invitation before I had everything else set up. But by doing it that way, that triggered everything, and it's the reason that I showed up when I did. I call this your first domino. Your first domino is knocking down that domino that's going to knock down everything else. If you ever set up your dominoes in such a way where you knock down one and it knocks down the other 27, what that is saying is that I'm applying energy. I'm flicking this one domino. I'm applying energy to one thing, and it's causing 27 other things to occur. Right? That's what I essentially did. That first domino was my first domino. First domino that triggered the domino effect was this email. It was easy to knock down, but once I knocked it down, it triggered everything else. Right? That's because I set it up in illogical order. And then eventually that dominoes continue to knock down more dominoes, and that's why I am in front of you today and why I'm doing the work that I am, all because of this one domino. I can trace back everything to this one domino. So that's how I stay disciplined, stay focused, and how I set up my goals. The next step is how I plan my weeks. So in the Entrepreneur Year Plan and the Year of Freedom, in the back is both my weekly time management system. And so on Sunday nights, every Sunday night, I actually come out and envision my week in advance. I envision my week in advance so I don't wake up on Monday and just start reacting to whatever emails are in my inbox. I do not want to be reactive. I used to be so committed to inbox zero and having my inbox clean, but guess what? Every email is not important. I only want to answer the emails that are important, that have to do with sales, right? So some of my team answer some of my unimportant emails now, right? So you start to delegate, outsource, and automate as well so that you can focus and stay disciplined on what you need to focus on. But I lay out my entire week. I lay out what are the to-dos for the week, my professional and personal. What are my top priorities? And my to-do list must fit within my top priorities. And then I map it out. I call these anchoring activities. I map it out on my actual calendar when I'm going to do these to-do list items. See, a lot of people have to-do lists and they put them on Post-its, right? Post-its. I got this long to-do list on a Post-it. But every to-do list item has time associated with it. Every to-do list item. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a to-do list item if it could be done in 0 seconds, right? But we have our Post-its over here, but our calendar over here. That doesn't make any sense. If it's really important that this gets done, then it needs to just be on your calendar, right? And so this is why I plan in this way. This is how I stay disciplined and how I stay focused. I also have found that my own rhythm. So I perform best in the mornings, and I perform best with chunks of time. Like I like 4-hour chunks of time. That's what's helpful to me to actually be productive. And so this is how I actually operate. And this is how I stay focused and follow through on things. One, by getting other people involved, setting everything up in chronological order, knocking down my first domino, and then also envisioning my week in advance so that I'm not reactive to things that are coming from outside, and I get to stay focused on my priorities for the week, and then put out the fires that come along the way, but not waking up to just fires, right? So it's really about prioritization, because there's going to be all kinds of things that are coming, incoming calls, incoming emails, incoming social media. But if you did all that, if you knocked out all your email, if you responded to every social media post, would your business grow? Would your business grow? And unless it has to do with moving your business forward, then it needs to be delayed, even if somebody wants to answer right away. So this is how I stay focused. And yes, freedom actually requires structure. Freedom doesn't just mean being laissez-faire. In fact, the more structure not so structured where you don't feel any sort of freedom, but there is structure that is necessary and required for you to have the freedom that you want as an individual or as an entrepreneur. So this is a Daily Jewel, and I hope that this has blessed you, Angela. Thank you so much for the great question, and I will see you next episode. Peace. I hope these mindsets, metaphors, and methodologies blessed you. If you desire more freedom, go to getfreenow.com to subscribe to the show on iTunes, YouTube, or Facebook, and get 4 of my best courses in the Freedom School for 100% free.